what law of attraction is, because some people might have never even heard that term before.
What really law of attraction is what you focus on comes true. When something's not going right about money, don't focus on it. Focus on things that make you feel better. And when you feel better, all the other things have to come in alignment. It is law.
What we listen to, what we watch, what we read, what we scroll affects us. It gets in.
Why does this always happen to me? It always happens to you because you say the words, why does it always happen to me? Instead, you should really try saying, it's not happening to me. It won't happen to me. Nothing's happening to me. I'm creating. How people manifest, whether it's a love of their life, a car, money, job, you're asking and setting intentions, and then you have to understand. Certain people want to understand law of attraction, and certain people kind of fight law of attraction. But my belief is that once you really understand law of attraction and you understand the dynamic of how you manifest, you can really open up a lot of doors. And the little trick, when anything's going bad in your life, think of something you love. Send love. When you want to change from where you are, what do? And it's love. And it changes everything.
Okay, welcome back to the Sagefull Living Podcast. I'm so excited to have my friend Henri Edinger here today. He's in Connecticut. I'm here in Miami. Henri is a former travelers insurance corporate executive. And he and his wife have his consulting company, Experience Design International. They work with financial services company and insurance companies. They help with their sales and their life cycles. And they also have a meditation app called MediMind. And it's also called Cloud9 as a company. This app is for healthcare, for meditation. I have created on their app for different healthcare companies and really exciting stuff, doing things that we know that doctors can get out to people in the world that need meditation for healing. Henri is also an energy healer, and I'm so excited to talk to him today about business and spirituality, because he is someone I know that really blurs those lines and crosses those lines and functions in both worlds in such a beautiful way. So thank you, Henri. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun.
So really what I want to get into is energy, the nervous system, money, and embodiment. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your path?
You know, it's an interesting path. I guess I'd say until I started to really understand spirituality and energy systems like chakras and healing modalities, I didn't really realize that I had been doing a lot of what we would call connecting in the business world. And so I think a lot of us do this where we have jobs that absolutely light us up. And when you're in that job, you walk into meetings and questions come at you and you have these beautiful answers to things, or a project gets laid in front of you and you think of all the great ways you can do it and everyone gives you credit for it and you say, wow, that was so effortless. Now knowing, what that looks like, it was being in flow. It was same as what a basketball player feels when they're making a lot of shots in a row. You're in flow. And so I think a lot of us get in flow at work because we have this mindset that we've grinded to this flow space, that we know certain things. But the truth is, I don't think that that's actually the truth. It's just our minds are open to it because we've grinded, because we've done certain things and gotten ourselves in a space where we know enough. Now I look back and I would answer questions that I didn't know the answer to before the question was asked, but I was asking up and getting answers and getting answers and getting answers. And so now with spirituality, it's a very interesting thing. So we have customers and it's the same thing. I show up to the call. I don't necessarily know what the topic's going to be. It doesn't actually really matter what the topic is when you know you can connect, and then you just receive answers. And so the big aha is ask questions, learn, and the asking questions and setting intentions is everything. And so when we talk about how people manifest, whether it's a love of their life, a car, money, job. You're asking and setting intentions, and then you have to understand certain people want to understand law of attraction and certain people kind of fight law of attraction. But my belief is that once you really understand law of attraction and you understand the dynamic of how you manifest, you can really open up a lot of doors. And ultimately, the manifestation, I like to say we're all manifesting our reality all the time. Like we've created this reality. I've created this desk by how I manifest. I've created the Buddha that's next to me. I've created this computer, and that's all good. You know, we think of it as good manifestation. Sometimes there's bad manifestation. We run plays in our head, and it's always going to end up that same way. And when you believe that, it will. A lot of what I try to work with people on is let's break those scenarios down. Let's understand where it took us in a slightly wrong direction. Again, there's no wrong direction, but wrong in terms of where you want to go. And then let's correct it. It's so exciting to me to see correction and see how people can really manage, like literally think about managing your reality instead of having it just feel like it comes at you. And so I love it. I'm trying more and more every day to recognize my humanness and celebrate it. And then also know that we have all these gifts and we have all these angels and guides ready to help in any way. And the only rule we have to follow is we have to ask them. They will not interfere. Some people say, well, what does God want from me? And I say, God doesn't want anything for you. God wants you to ask and live and create. And sometimes we create when we're in a bad space, and sometimes we create when we're in perfect flow. It doesn't really matter. But if we don't ask, they don't help. They stay there. They do what they can, but you got to ask. And sometimes the ask isn't as clear as we want it to be. I know we're going to spend a little time on that because I think it's the key to where you want to go. And so then we get clear about it. I think my one last thing to say is when people aren't clear on their intentions, they get back an unclear look of things. And that's what you manifested. You asked for unclear, you got unclear, right? So let's clean those things out and get a clear interaction. So
amazing. So much to unpack there, so much to get into. I want to go back and ask you to explain to our audience what law of attraction is, because some people might never even heard that term before.
Law of attraction, and there's so much written about it. There's a couple rules to it, though. I want to jump in relatively quickly on this part. So what really law of attraction is what you focus on comes true. And what I mean by that is that where your point of attraction is. So let's go with the logical one that everybody wants, right? Money. Now, I love the radio dial analogy, right? So if I'm at 91.5 on the radio dial, and that 91.5 is actually not having money. It's lack of money. I have an awareness of my lack of money, and therefore I'm on 91.5. But at 102.5, that's all the money I could ever want in my life. And so how do I get from 91.5 to 102.5? And the answer is that you can't focus on where you are. You have to focus on where you're going. Now, that's so hard. And I think where people get tripped up is this idea of, I'll just imagine that I have the car. We stay there for like a nanosecond, and then we're back to, I still don't have the car, and I still don't have the thing. So law of attraction actually has other ways to get there. This one is my favorite because it's the easiest, which I'm always leaning into the easiest way to go. And the simple way to think of it is that if I have one thing in my life, so let's say we all have hundreds of things that we want, but let's just say I have 10 things that I want, and 9 of them I'm in lack for whatever reason. What you do is you focus on the one thing that's going really well. The podcast, my job, working out at the gym, whatever fills you up. Law of attraction says if your point of attraction is in flow and feeling great, all the other things have to come to that point of attraction. So it's such a powerful thought. If you can understand when something's not going right about money, don't focus on it. Focus on things that make you feel better. And when you feel better, all the other things have to come in alignment. It is law. Once you start to understand the power of that, things move very quickly in your life. Then you can start to understand. So when I say move quickly, something falls in line at work. You meet someone in a coffee shop and you start dating them. Like things start moving really quickly. And then you'll notice, wait a minute, I still haven't gotten all the money I wanted. Okay, we have a block somewhere, but now we can see the block. We can see where my thoughts happened and when I was 5 and my aunt said I'd never amount to anything, or whatever other thing is in the mix that makes me feel this lack that I can't get rid of. And then you can attack it and move that out of the way, and then you move even farther. Can law of attraction still just bring you straight to it? Yes, it can. But most of us still kind of carry this emotional bank account, and we dip into it. And it's in the past, and it's not right now, but it doesn't matter. When I dip into that account, I'm bringing myself back to where I was when I had that feeling of lack or whatever other thing that is. So I like to say, get clear, focus on something that's going perfectly well and you love, and watch what happens. Watch how the universe starts flooding good things towards you. And then when you still don't have everything you want, let's understand where you might have a small blockage or something that can be removed. And there's so many tools to remove it. And obviously, you and I have used some of these tools together and with each other, and they're cool. It's a kind of a 2-step process. But if you understand the basics of law of attraction, then you can start focusing and moving forward, and it feels wonderful. And you're telling yourself to live in flow, which is a great place to be.
I love this. And thank you for saying the podcast, because really true. When things started really flowing with the podcast, other things in my life started coming together. And instead of worrying about those things where I was putting stress on, I can't, it's not, those things were stuck. But once I let that go and said, okay, I'm going to focus on this because this is going really well, my family constellations facilitated training co-hosting happened. And now this is in a huge movement in my life that I did not even see coming. So thank you. Thank you for that explanation. I want to go back to, I want to get into this and the energy healing. And you've mentioned asking and talking. So I want to get into who are we talking to? So maybe people can understand that more. But what was your big awakening? You were a very corporate person. I don't know if you had spirituality growing up. Talked about being in flow in work and then realizing that it wasn't just you, that there were actually messages coming in that was helping you move. What was that moment, where you realized there was this other world out there that you could bring into your life and your business?
Yeah, it's so interesting. So, my wife, Delana, she and Rita McRae started a center, basically, and it was for healing, energy, work. They'd help people with problems if they're small business. It was kind of a little bit all over the place, but really it was a center where people could come and find themselves and learn more about themselves. And it had chakra balancing and mediumship and other things. And so I was absorbing all of that over time. And then in 2017, I went to something at Kripalu, which is in Massachusetts, like an hour away from me. And basically you can go for a day, a weekend. It's a lot of yoga. It's other things. This particular class was a 2-day class on Buddhism and meditation. And so I learned the fundamentals of meditation and Buddhist meditation, read a couple books on it. And I'm not a big reader. When I feel drawn to read, I do, because something's telling me to do it. And so I really learned about impermanence in Buddhism and meditation. And once I started, I felt this clarity. Like the first time I meditated for 5 minutes, it felt like an hour. And quickly, within a week, I was meditating for half an hour and it felt like 5 minutes. And so it changed everything, that meditation. And so it kind of opened the door. And once that door was open, I needed more. Buddhism was too slow for me. No offense to any Buddhists. And I needed a little bit more in the beginning because I was feeling this okay, I'm blank and I'm here, but I wanted more. And then the more came, interestingly, was Kabbalah. So Kabbalah is a mystic. It's mainly associated with Jewish mystics. And I have lots of Jewish friends, and they look at Kabbalah yeah, we know about it, but we don't really do anything. Well, I had a teacher, and it was fabulous. Like it gave me a structure. So let me give you an example of a structure, because you don't even need to know the words. So I have a thing, and the thing was a Merkaba, and I could put myself in the Merkaba. So I just imagined myself with my eyes closed going into a Merkaba. And then I'd call in some guides and angels, which I thought was cool because I'm asking them to come in. And immediately I would feel their presence, which was cool as well. And so the way to think about it was I would go down and my vibration was going up right away. And so now what was happening was I was feeling an immediate impact of just getting in the Merkaba. But there's, just like in Islam, in Judaism, there's 72 names of God. In Islam, there's 99 or 100 names of God. And the names of God themselves were just codes, and there was letters that go with every alphabet. But like a lot of different alphabets, the runes and Kabbalah, those letters weren't just to create words. Those letters would create basically an incantation or a wish that you were wishing for. So you could ask for a miracle, you could ask for healing, you could ask for money, you could ask for a baby, all kinds of things. And you could meditate and focus. And I loved the idea of this kind of process to get through. And that unlocked me again. I got to this point where now I'm doing the process and it feels great. Now I don't need to do the process anymore. I just need to get into the Merkaba. Once I get in the Merkaba, I can start asking and getting answers. What ultimately happens, and this is to answer your question, people call this a lot of things. So first name is divinity, God, higher self, spirit. All those things are very similar. It's a non-religious way to think about I'm connecting into a stream of divine energy. And it could be one entity in God or my higher self or any other way you want to think about it. People think Archangel Michael, people think Jesus. It doesn't matter. It really matters how you think about it. And this is a key, Susan, I think, to almost everything. It really matters what you think about, right? So let me give you a quick example. I was putting on my white shirt because I always put on a white shirt when I'm kind of want to dial it up a little bit more. Why? So I asked an hour ago, I said, why white? And they're like, it doesn't matter if it's white. What it matters is that I believe it helps me dial it up a notch. And so I create the energy around a white shirt. I create the energy around this helps me dial up to another level and connect. And when I do that, I've set my intention and it's provided to me by law of attraction, right? So it's just the same tool. I'm just asking questions. Again, white feels good. I don't know why I got there, that it felt like white when I wanted to dial it up. But when I have people coming over or a situation that I need to do something, or we're doing a house clearing, I put on white. So I set that intention, and it kind of helps me get there. So again, I hope that helped answer the question. I know I'm going a little bit all over the place. There's just so much to cover, but
so much. I want to go back. So when you started studying the Buddhism and you said you started doing meditation, how did you start with meditation? Because I want people, like a lot of people, I can't meditate. I can't keep my mind quiet. And I want them to understand there's so many different types of meditation where you could do a walking meditation where you're looking for a color. When you're in flow, you're in meditation, whether you're an artist and you like to paint or draw or write. So what did you start with? Was it just sitting in silence? Was it guided? What type of meditations was it?
Yeah, it's amazing. So the original part was really guided meditation. In Kabbalah, it was a guided meditation to get there, whether I'm guiding myself or I'm listening to someone guide me, or my teacher was guiding me. I found that was really good because our minds, I'm a ADHD guy. I have a hard time putting my brain to sleep before I found meditation at night, all those things. And so I found like the process of going through, like, first I'm going to close my eyes, then I'm going to imagine the Merkaba, then I'm going to set my intention with the Merkaba, I'm going to ask for my guides to come in. Just sitting 3, 4, 5 things in a row had me focus on the 4 or 5 things instead of all the other stuff. And it's literally that simple. You start that process going and you focus on it. We had this interesting thing, again, a little sidebar, but I think it's really fascinating. It was on spells. And it's interesting. You can do a spell. And so I asked, why the spell? Why the book? Why to read this and put this sage here and do this? And they said, it's focus. You can imagine what you want. You can ask the divine for what you want, your higher self for what you want, and get it right away if you have enough focus. Or you can go through stages of working through a spell or working through a meditation where you get yourself there. And so it's literally just about this clearing your mind and the things that you do to get there. And so now when I just imagine the Merkaba, my vibration goes up. And the physiological effect is I get like this. And I relax. It's so much fun. And what I try to tell people is living in a world where you have that vibration, where you look outside and you see that blue and you say, I don't think I've ever seen that blue in my life. It's so gorgeous. Things pop more. The trees pop more. The grass pops more. The sky pops more. Your dog looks better and more beautiful. That's the life you can have if you decide that you want to tend to your vibration and bring it every day, that I want to be, Abraham Hicks says, on a high-flying disc. Oh, actually, that's the other one. I started listening to Abraham Hicks. It's on YouTube. If you look up Abraham, you'll see Abraham Hicks. It's a collection of energies that Esther Hicks brings through. The collection of energies are Abraham energies. And it's fabulous because she brings through this voice and they answer questions. And most of what they answer is around law of attraction. So if anybody wants more on law of attraction, it's videos. You can listen in the car without watching the video, and it's fabulous. And your vibration rate rises just by listening. So it's cool.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning Abraham Hicks. Michelle Bletchner, my family constellations facilitator, she's huge on Abraham Hicks, 40 years. She's been talking about Abraham Hicks and listening to Abraham Hicks. So thank you. And thank you for that. And I want people to just hear that. There's so many different ways to meditate. And Henri has come to a level where he can tap in and calm his nervous system so quickly to come into that state. And don't think that you're going to get there tomorrow, but start somewhere. And guided meditations, there are so many. I know Deepak Chopra right now is anti-person that we want to deal with, but his 21-day meditations with Oprah Winfrey, with other people, was a really great way. That's how I started a meditation, and it was guided, where someone would come on, they'd talk for a few minutes, they'd give me a mantra, and then maybe for 10 minutes there was music, and I was reciting that mantra in my head. It was just something like so hum. And then they'd come back at the end, talk a little more. Maybe it was Oprah, and she'd give you a prompt if you wanted to journal. So hopefully those things are still
amazing
out there, and maybe the Oprah ones are, because those are so beneficial for people that are scared to start meditation. So when you got into this world, your wife and partner opened up this center, and you started to expose yourself to be able to connect to a higher power and manifest in your life. How did your life change, your relationships change, your business change?
What's really fascinating is the change that people most of the time want is something external to them, right? It's the car that I get into. It's the house that I walk around in. It's the money in the bank account. It's the people that are around you. But the truth is, when you really start to experience it, none of those extra things, they're all great things, but none of those extra things really matter. What the way it's working is you feel good, and then law of attraction brings somebody that makes you feel even better to you, and it feeds on itself. But it all starts inside you. The more you feel it, the more it comes, and then your wishes come true, and all those other things. So it's literally feels like you're kind of walking on air. To be truthful, Susan, you asked, how did I know? And this is when I was a little kid, people would say, you are a glass half full kid. And then when I was at work and there would be a problem, I'd say, wow, this creates a great opportunity. And then they're like, what are you talking about? And I'd say, it's a fantastic opportunity to do this. I always was. Glass half full was actually incorrect. I was always fully full. I looked at things and they weren't problems. They were opportunities. And so in some ways I've always had that. And so I think that's a reason why I've gained so many tools and I've learned so much, because I'm so open at this point that when I get something in meditation at 7 in the morning or 4 in the morning, I can't wait for Delana to wake up so I can go, listen to this. listen to this. Oh my God. Like that's what happens. And so that's one of my powers. People talk about powers, and the very honest truth of all of it is we can all do anything we want to do. We can all be mediums. We can all send energy. We can all heal. But the reason why some of us do different modalities and different things is that we've done them in the past, and we're kind of relearning them, not learning them from the beginning. That's really it. It's a comfort level. So when I do healing, it just feels right and natural. And the new tools that I have to help with healing feel right and natural. I have a new healing modality, and you've experienced it, Susan. It's not really that new. It's well over a year and a half or so. But Archangel Michael calls it no therapy. Why go back and learn? Why go back and relive something in your past when we can actually just ask Archangel Michael to take it away? It doesn't go away forever. You can bring it back, but why would you? You don't have to. You don't have to dig in deep and feel all the pain when you're 9 or when you're 6 or when you're 25. No, I want to just feel better. And Archangel Michael's given this tool that I can help facilitate with. Again, I don't do anything. It's the easy part for me is I don't actually attest to having anything other than I can direct the energy and direct the thought.
Yeah, you're what we call a channel. And a lot of healers, that's what we are, is we're a channel, and the energy comes through us to help other people release, expand, or whatnot. So when did you realize that you could use these to help other people, not just for yourself, that what you were calling in, that you could actually do this energy work on other people?
This initiation part was one of the craziest. And one of the things that happened was actually at your house in Miami. So I'm going to give you the two parts. One was we're in Atlanta, and Delana just had something not sit well in her stomach. And she's like, oh, my stomach really hurts. And she's like, we use words like this initially. Can you give me Reiki on my stomach? It wasn't Reiki. What I really was doing was sending energy to her stomach, but I didn't even know what I was doing. So I said, sure. So I put my hands on her stomach, and I'm picturing what I always pictured as white light. And so I picture white light with my eyes closed on her stomach, and I see little green Luigi from Mario and Luigi jump into Delana's stomach. I'm like, what? I took my hands off. I opened my eyes. I'm like, what? And she's like, what is it? And I explain, it's Luigi. And she's like, well, what is he doing? And I'm like, well, now he's inside. He's painting like a caricature, like a cartoon. He's painting your stomach with white light. She's like, I feel better. I'm feeling better already. I'm like, well, he's painting white light in your stomach. And he's talking like a broken Italian. And I just start asking him, what is it? And he said, it was the food she had. Okay. And then he says, she needs more water. And I'm like, and he said, you need more water. She's like, I do need more water. So all of a sudden, I was able to just ask Luigi to go in. So that started it. At first, it was Luigi just jumped in. I don't know how it happened. I wasn't even like, if you said when you played Mario, would you play with Luigi? Nope, I didn't. I almost think because he's green, that's the only thing I could think. It was like Raphael. So what's really fascinating, so that was 2016. So over like a 4-year period, I'm just sending Luigi to people, and people are feeling better, and they're just like, can I have Luigi? I'm like, you can always just ask Luigi to come. You don't have to ask me. I'm not the keeper of Luigi. And so then people would say, I'm doing it, and I feel better. Oh, I was nauseous. I had a headache. Luigi fixes it. I forget that I have Luigi, So then I'm at your place, and I think it was 2019 in Miami, and Raj was having some back pain. And she's like, can you just tell me if you feel anything in the back? And I thought it was going to be Luigi just jumping in on her back and giving me update on what's happening with her back. If it was water or muscle, that's all right. Send white light. We're going to heal it. It wasn't. I put my hand on her back, and all of a sudden, my arm becomes this long blue sword. And I'm like, again, I take my hand off of her. I back up. I'm like, what is going on? So then I ask, what is going on? And it's Archangel Michael saying, there's an energy on her back, and that's what's causing her discomfort. I ask her, and I will remove it. Turns out I didn't really need to ask her, which is a kind of a strange, I never really have gotten to the bottom of it. I have some humanness in this, but on energy, I can just remove energy from Susan. I can remove energy from Delane. I can remove energy from anyone in the world. I don't have to ask you. I can just remove it. If you want that energy there, then you can bring it back. But if you don't, if you hadn't intentionally put it there, it's really not supposed to be there, I guess that's what they're telling me. That's not supposed to be there, so therefore it can be removed. And so Archangel Michael just removed the energy, and she's like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So literally there's some energy that found her way, its way to her back, and it was bothering her. And then I sent a little white light, and she's like, this is incredible. So it became this tool to use, and every time I would think about it, it would be this blue sword coming out of my arm, and then I would just use the sword to do the things.
And I love that you're so open about it, to talk about it and to share it, because this is really a talent and a gift, and you're tapping into it and using it to help other people, but it's also not stopping you in your corporate life. You know, if anything, I'm sure it's enhancing in business. Would you say?
You know, it totally does. It absolutely totally helps with everything in business. And so, yeah, it does.
So what would be the best way for people to try to start accessing this themselves, or where should they begin if they are open? I feel one big thing is people have to be open to this, because hearing, oh, my hand turned into a sword and, you know, I'm connecting to my higher self. This is the world you and I travel in, and we know that this stuff exists, and we see how it helps people and transforms lives and helps them come to a higher consciousness and create the beautiful lives that they've been looking for. How can we help them to begin? If they're open to say, yes, I want to know more.
I love it. So I think there's like a little starter kit. I mean, it's interesting, even just doing this podcast, they want more of this. They want me to be on a radio station. They want it to be a TV show. They want it to be a podcast. Like, I'm supposed to be talking to people and helping them realize what's happening. Again, no ego with it. In fact, I probably have so little ego on it that I'm not driven to do it the way I want to. I want to help people, but I also just don't want to do a radio show. So there's a part of this where I have to kind of connect and start to really work on that. They keep telling me all the time that I have to do that. But I'd say this, there's a starter kit. Let me give you your starter kit. Your first thing is that we can protect ourselves from other energies. And so this works if you're an empath and you just feel, you walk in a room and you can feel other people's energies. You can do this. If you go into a mall and get impacted by it, if you go into a Home Depot, literally if you're going into a religious setting like a church or anything else, anywhere where massage, I have a massage envy pass and I go once a month. I try to go once a month. I don't really. But when I go in, I put this energy. And so all it is a circle of light. And all I do is I tell people I start my hands at 12 and 6, and I just make a circle. I just reverse them. I make a circle, and that I've asked Archangel Michael, when I make this movement, it means I have an unbreakable circle of light, white light. And that means that I'm blocking out energy that I haven't asked to come in. So literally 12 and 6, reverse it. 12 and 6, 12 and 6, 12 and 6. And once I do that, I can put that circle around me. I can put it around me and you. I can put it around your house. I can put it around my house. And I do circles all day long. And that's all I do. Just like that. I don't say anything. I don't have to say anything. Sometimes if it's somebody's house far away, then I literally envision the house and I put the circle and I set a very intentional words to create the blockage of energy. But imagine just blocking empathic thoughts where other people's energies, that you can do that. Imagine setting it around your house so no energy can come in that you don't want. Do it for your dogs that get nervous. You can set it and make them calm. Cats, other people. If you have a high anxiety person in your household, you can just set the circle and put it around them. It's so powerful, and it's the first thing to do because it just takes the pressure of other energy out. Then you know you're working with you. And so that's the first part of the starter kit is that. And the second part is then everything else becomes, I don't have other influences. Now, what do I want? And what am I going to ask for? And what am I going to ask for? And ask. And here's an example of an ask that people don't think about, right? If I'm walking out the door and someone asks me to take a look at their house, I have to grab the key and drive 15 minutes to their house because I'm kind of like half house sitting, just making sure everything's okay. I have this intention, don't forget the key. And I'm saying, don't forget the key, don't forget the key. And I walk by it. Now, we've all experienced this. What your higher self is saying to you is, pick the key up. And for me now, I've asked to be more fine. It'll be like, if I don't want to forget my watch, the watch will be sitting there, and it almost feels like it lights up. Like it's so direct, and everything else is not as in focus, and it's this. And it's like, put the watch on. Okay, I'm going to put the watch on. Like, that's the cool part. It starts to just happen and happen and happen once you start down that path. Because my intention was, I don't want to walk around without my watch. I don't want to leave without the key. And we've all experienced it. You saw the key, and you get 10 minutes down the road and you're like, I didn't grab the key.
And I kept thinking about it and I forgot.
Right, but you kept thinking about it was really literally a message because you were saying, I don't want to forget it. And they're saying, don't forget it. Pick it up now. Pick it up now. So it's cool. So it's, again, starter kit, trying. The other one I love as a starter kit is ask for green lights to go to the store. Ask for your favorite parking spot. Pick a favorite parking spot. Say this is my favorite parking spot and ask for it every time. Like I literally in my store, I drive right to the front. And people that haven't driven with me before, they're like, where are you going? Why are you going to the front? I go, because my spot's right there in the front in the first row. And I just spin right around and go in my spot. And they're like, you just get that every time? I go, every once in a while I have a little tick in my vibration and it's the second spot. But second spot, first spot, I'm good with, they're all my spots. Right in that 1, 2, 3 range, those are my spots. And I am always going to get one. I don't have any resistance to getting my favorite parking spot. So when people pick something really big, I want to cure cancer. Okay. You can cure cancer. You have to overcome a lot of resistance. You have to overcome a lot of people telling you that no one can just cure cancer. Yes, you can, but you have to overcome a lot. Why not start with something easy like parking spots and understand? And then you're understanding how it works and you're putting it in motion, and then you know how to move through life doing it. So I hope. What I
love that is, you've got to start small. And thank you for saying that at the end, because people will be like, okay, I'm just going to start asking for this and asking for that. But it's like, even with like facilitator training that we're doing now, people are like, okay, I'm ready to be a facilitator. And it's like, wait a second. Have you done the work? Have you healed yourself? Have you healed those relationships? You can't go out and heal others until you heal yourself. So I love that you're telling people to start small. One thing that keeps coming to me is, it's like we're listening to the voice in our head, but we got to make sure it's the right voice, right? So we have to be in a certain state that we're connecting to that higher self or Jesus or whatever it is you keep saying to ask. How do we know we're getting the right messages or answers, that we're listening? The connection is the right connection. It's not that negative voice in our head.
That is such a fundamentally great question, because there's a very simple answer. So here's how you know you're getting a higher self message. It's love, and there's no judgment. And they won't tell you what to do. It's just such a fascinating thing. I ask, I get an answer, but I'm not compelled either way. I know it's the right answer. It feels loving. And if it doesn't feel loving, it's something else. I would reset my energy and do it again. Like clear. The other thing is you can just ask Archangel Michael to clear any energy that's not for your greatest and highest good. So simple. Archangel Michael, please clear my energy for any energy that's not for my greatest and highest good. Okay. Now I'm clear. Now I set my circle. And now when I ask, I'm getting clean messaging all the time. It's fascinating, Susan, because we all forget we're humans. Like there's a part of this life that we're supposed to just experience things. We're supposed to, when someone cuts me off in traffic, as zen as I sound when I'm on, I still get frustrated. And what I've learned is 2 minutes later, I've learned how to kind of navigate my frustration, where I'll say, that was a particularly human response, Henri. Like I was pretty irritated. But once I call it a human response, I just like, yeah, okay. And then I usually follow it up, and I really am sincere. I hope they get to wherever they're going safely. Like, I really mean that. And so I find, don't say fake things though. Don't make it not real. Don't make it not you. If you don't care if they get there safely, don't say it. You can do a lot of things. You can just say, I'm going to forget them. It's just okay. But I'm the same person. I can be at a store and someone can bang their cart into me really fast and not pay attention. And I say,
Yeah.
why would you do that? Like, and it feels frustrating and all those things, but just is life. That's what we're going through. And then, but at some point, then I come back to, what do I want to feel like, right? So that's the most important thing, is I want to manage my energy. I want to protect my energy, because it just feels so good to be in a good place.
We can walk through life like this and in this more positiveness if we're more conscious and aware of ourselves, in that human experience. All right, I have some questions here. We think these are good. What does blocked energy look like in business decisions?
There's a simple answer and a longer answer, so I'm going to give you both. The simple answer is, if it's blocked energy, you can tell because it's not easy. So everything about being in flow and unblocked energy is easy. Answers come easy. The questions come easy. It's just easy. So what the question is, really what you're asking is, when it's blocked, what do I do? Right? And so when it's blocked, what do I do is, okay, is it on the spot that you're blocked? Are you asking a question? Sometimes it's just as simple as that. Am I asking? Did I think I just have to power through this, or did I ask for help? I wonder what's going on with this. I didn't realize when growing up or at work before all this spirituality came that I was constantly asking questions. I just didn't know it. And so I think we all ask questions. We just don't realize that we're doing it. And sometimes we ask really bad questions. Like, why does this always happen to me? It always happens to you because you say the words, why does it always happen to me? Like, literally. Instead, you should really try saying, it's not happening to me. It won't happen to me. Nothing's happening to me. I'm going to go create a bottle of water over at the airport. Instead of worrying about my flight being canceled and why does it happen to me, maybe your flight should be canceled because there's something that's going to go on that flight. Maybe you don't want to be on that flight. There's all these things, right, that we make a story up. But what I really want is safe transportation. And so if I'm thinking safe transportation and something changes in my world, I'm going, I don't know enough. I'm not God. I can't understand. But I know I asked for safe transportation. So if I'm not getting on the plane when I thought I was, who cares? I know what I asked for, safe transportation. So there's this ask, really, you kind of start to ultimately refine your ask and get to a better place. And you find that you don't get blocked. Sometimes the block is really just what you're asking. So
Michelle she says in the morning she meditates, so she connects. Okay, then she does appreciation and then her intentions. Right? And intention every day. Intention is really a very important thing. Can you explain, what does that mean? What is intention, or what is doing something with intention or setting intentions? Maybe people don't understand what this means.
Everything I'm saying to you is simple, 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 right? So simple intentions, like we pull cards, and it could be oracle cards, it can be tarot cards, it can be anything. We pull cards, and we pull it with this idea of, tell me something I need to know today. Not solve world hunger, not, create peace in the world. Tell me something I need to know today for me. And just that simple question, I get a card, and I'm like, oh, okay. And sometimes it doesn't hit right, so I ask again, and I say more clarification, and I get a second card. And so little things like a normal habit where you're pulling cards, where you're meditating, setting intention. Setting intention is literally saying, this is what I want. This is what I want to happen. And my intention when I'm asking questions is, give me the answer. So it's so, literally, it's so simple. People struggle with the simplicity of it. And religion, again, a lot of people get a lot of relief from religion, so I'm not anti-religion. What I find is it's more controlling than it is opening. And so it tells you there's only these things. And when you're getting ready to receive in Catholicism, It's the priest starts out with, even though you're not worthy. That doesn't feel right. That's not how God.
No,
I think God
right.
feels about me. God believes I'm worthy of everything I could ever
Everything.
want. Religions themselves, I think, control. It's more this idea of I'm connecting, I'm asking, and then allowing and allowing and allowing. So we haven't really talked about that, but you set an intention, and then are you open to the answer? We get answers all the time, and we don't really like the answer. And there's kind of two things to do: ask a better, more clear question, and then listen for the answer. And there's a trick, Susan. There's a trick to answers and questions, and people ask me all the time, and I say, if it's not simple, if it's not 6 words, 7 words, it ain't from God. Because everything is so simple. This question could go anywhere, and I'm going to give you the answer that they gave. So I used to say to people all the time, love is the most powerful force in the universe. I don't even know where I got that. I think I got it from them, but I'd say it, and people would be like, okay. I mean, it's kind of like a general head nod, like, okay. Then somebody finally asked a better question to me. They said, why is love the most powerful force in the universe? And I said, that's fantastic. I can't believe I didn't ask that. And so I ask, and then I just like smile. Love is the most powerful force in the universe because God is love. Think about how simple that is. God is love. That's the example of how simple the answers are. They're always simple. It's always easy. And the little trick, when anything's going bad in your life, think of something you love. Send love. When somebody's irritating you and you want to change that state, send love. And you and I have experienced that. When you do that, you change your state. You cannot think and be in this place of love and be angry. They don't coexist. The anger goes and the love comes in and you feel better. And so there's just so many ways. What I try to think about is ways to help people get into that love state. And honestly, it's a funny thing. A lot of people just don't want to be there. I know it sounds funny. I think it just feels so good, but it's when they want to change, right? So when you want to change from where you are, what do? And it's love. And it changes everything.
Beautiful. How about if we do a little mini session before we close?
Okay.
I want to tap into me. I mean, I I hit my toe
Okay.
yesterday and I'm in pain in my foot. I'm in this in my body. See if there's anything you pick
Okay.
up on me that we could clear.
Okay. And you clearly given me permission. So it's funny. So I asked why you hit your toe, and they said you thought that you should not do what you did before, and you did it. Like there was something, I don't know. There was a thing. It was almost like what we were talking about. Like you could have hit it before and you didn't, but you did that time, and then you had this like, oh, I did it. I could have moved that, and I didn't. So they're sending Luigi's in there, sending healing to your toe right now. With you, I automatically go to like the hip region, and hip for me is all sacral, and it's actually pretty good. You always have a little bit of tightness there, but it's actually pretty good. Um, you're really in good shape right now. Like your energy, and it could be where we are right now, but your vibration is very high right now. You're in such a like a good place. Like I think it's fascinating. Like what else did you say was bothering you? I just want to check in on what
Well,
it's doing
what I'm
right
always
now.
I've always wanted to really get in and deeply work on is my tinnitus in my right ear. And when you were
Okay,
talking about
let's
Luigi going into Delana and painting her stomach, I used to try in
yeah.
meditation to print. I saw these little guys in like white overalls, and they were trying to
Hmm.
like squeegee it. But my tinnitus is pretty bad. I've had it for almost 40 years.
Okay, and it's
And
right.
someone said to me the other day that they find a lot of people who are their clairvoyancy comes through audio, and that maybe I need to be tapping in, and that the noise of the tinnitus, there are messages in there.
That it's funny you said that because that's what I was getting is some things we want to go away and we might actually want them to just clarify and be more. That's what it felt like. Like it felt like it feels like you have a radio dial and it's not quite tuned in, but when it does, the what you feel like is tinnitus is actually just going to be more messaging. That's exactly what it felt like. That it's not a medical issue. It's a spiritual offering. That's a cool way they said that. It's a spiritual offering for you to use. So now when you go into meditation, think about turning that dial to give me the clear messaging. And it's funny, it's not going to be just right. You're hearing it on the right, but you're going to feel it on both. That is like, that's really cool. It feels like it's not a medical thing at all.
That's so interesting.
So
Hey,
tune it in. Tune in Tokyo.
tune in Tokyo. Anything else? Oh, my
We didn't
gallbladder,
get
right?
we.
Where I don't
Oh
have a
yeah, go ahead.
gallbladder has been bothering me in a weird way.
Okay. Okay. So you have they're showing me again. I very loosely know what a liver looks like, so I'm just letting you know that I don't really know. But I actually have a similar thing where I thought I had gallbladder, but I already had my gallbladder removed. And so I research it, and you can still have gallstones on your bile ducts. And so what I'm imagining right now for you, and this should help you, but you can do the same thing. Picture your liver in any way, and then just wrap it in white light, and then remove any stones anything that blocks flow in your liver. And by picturing that, you're going to you're going to remove the thing that's bothering you. And literally for anybody that's listening, that's how easy it is. You, we, Once we understand what the thing is, and that's a lot of asking. So when I was asking about it, I kept asking. I'm like, is it a stone? Is it this? Is it that? Is there a blockage? Is it blood flow? I'm just looking. And then they showed like something that looked like a little pea on your liver. I'm like, okay, blockage of some kind. Let's just remove that. But then if you're going to be in there, right? I used to love the story where people say, well, if you're going to raise the engine out of the car, you might as well fix a couple other things while you do it because it's such a lot of work. If you're going to be
Right.
in there thinking about your liver, why not surround it with white light? Why not ask it to be regenerated in the most positive way? There's so many ways you can kind of work with your body that way. And I think there's one more thing, Susan, I think that is really important for people to know. If we talk about energy on people, why is everybody not full of energy? Because it could just be glomming onto them. There's things in our body all the time. So when someone asks me, like, what's my kit of things? What's my thing I should do? Water. Water keeps your energy in the same place all the time. So when you're low on water, you actually invite in other energies. People don't know that. When you get cut, you can invite in an energy. So little things like that where keep your water up. Strength. When in 10 years, there's going to be all this medical knowledge come out on what building muscle does for your body. But literally going to the gym and doing anything. I don't care if it's 5 push-ups, 1 push-up, a half push-up. Start doing that once a day. Anything. Move your body. Because when your muscles are active, every one of your trillion cells upgrades. Every one of your trillion cells goes bing. You turn them on. And the value of turning them on. I'm going to give everybody one last little thing. Because they've been telling me this for a long time. And now I'm in this place where I got to work out. Like if I don't, I feel like I'm at a deficit. There's a story in Time magazine 10 years ago. A researcher says, I want to study this whole what happens when we exercise and when we don't exercise. So they took 200 mice. All 200 mice got the worst stuff you can get. Clorox. polio agent, like cancer-causing agents, everything. 100 of them got free food and were sedentary, and 100 of them had to do something, literally exercise to get their food. In 30 days, all 100 that were sedentary were dead. In 30 days, all 100 were thriving.
Even though they had diseases and thing.
And I had all the diseases.
Wow.
And literally the guy in Time magazine said, nothing ever happens like this. That's not how research works. Mice die every 30 days anyway. It just didn't make sense. He's like, literally, this was a test that was so much better than he could have ever imagined. So just think about that. You can be injected with all this other stuff. And if you move your body, if you really think about growing your muscle and exercising a little bit, it's just a little bit. Every time you do it, bing, 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 your cells are firing and loving and moving on. Like your cell, you think of it as explosion. That's how they show it to me. It's literally like my cells in my toes are going bing, bing, bing. I'm not exercising my toes, but that's what's happening. So it's cool.
Amazing.
Again, ask. I ask about it, and that's what they tell me.
Well, Henri, I truly believe you need to be sharing this because, you're a very smart man and you're so open to this. And I love it because sometimes people, they shy away or they want to hide this side of themselves, and you're living it out. You're not afraid to talk about this. And I'd love for you to be teaching it to people because you're right. We all have these gifts inside of us. We have to trust that. We have to be open to it and ready for a higher consciousness. And now is the time in the world of things that are happening for us to all have cleaner energy, be in a higher consciousness, living our life in more awareness, which is going to attract more better things and more happiness. So thank you. Is there any last tidbits you want to add in before we finish?
I'd say one last thing in the kit would be, I don't watch ESPN where they yell at each other anymore. I don't watch Fox News or CNN or any of those. News finds me because I find if I focus on anything that's somebody yelling at each other, I'm bringing that energy in. I'm allowing it in. So I would tell people, just be conscious of what you bring in. If you really want it, go for it. And you're human. And then you can shield yourself after. But doing it constantly, you literally open yourself up to more yelling and more screaming and more upsetness. The more you focus on blue skies, it sounds so crazy. The more you focus on blue sky and being in paradise, you kind of live that life. And the more you focus on people yelling and screaming and bad things happening all around the world, that's the world we live in. So people can say it's a crazy way to think about it, but I'll tell you, Susan, since I started that, and this is back in 2016, 10 years have gone by. Any news that needs to find me, someone tells me. Someone texts me something, it finds me. And if I don't need to know it, I don't really care. It's a tree falling in the woods. Shit's happening all the time. There's 7 billion people in the world, and all of them have free will. I can't manage all of it. I know the thing I can manage is Henri's energy. And that's where I put my focus. So if everybody had to do one thing, manage your energy and see how it feels and enjoy the fruits of managing your energy. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you for that. And thank you for that reminder of what we listen to, what we watch, what we read, what we scroll affects us. It gets in and affects our energy and how we show up in life. I'm the same way as you. News will have to find me as well because I don't follow anything on the news outlets. I'll get a few things here and there from friends, but if it's something really important, I will find out about it. But in a clear way, because there's just so much distortion out there. There's so much, we don't know what's true. We don't know what's real. So come back to love, come back to yourself, and come back to protecting your energy to help you in this world. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Play us out a little bit.